Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me, and welcome to the third video of our channel. This is going to be a trip over to Los Nevados, or the snow-capped mountains that we have about 2 hours away from Pereira. This is going to be a solo trip. Like every trip on the channel and every video you'll see, it's going to be unguided. I'm going to research the information myself and take the trip myself. Now our trip is going to be, like I said, about 2 hours away from Pereira. It's going to take us through Manizales and a couple of other small towns on the way. The trip's very pleasant. The views along the way, they're just unbeatable. There's a ton of really great restaurants along the way. As you see this one, you see the old ladies throwing it back in the kitchen. There's a lot of really great selection. The food here, like a lot of things, it's going to take some getting used to. It's not so much so rich in flavor as we see back in the States. But with this comes the understanding that most of the food back in the States is very processed. It's made with a lot of sugar and different additives that are not very good for you. So the food here, whether you want to or not, automatically you're gonna feel like you're losing weight. Just because no matter what you eat, you are going to be eating just a bit more healthy than back in the United States. Now, I believe the elevation goes up to like 4,000, 5,000 feet in the mountains. So before you get there and while you're driving there, it is advised that you take a couple of stops. You can get sick from the elevation once you get up to the hostel. Now, as far as the hostel, I stayed in an Airbnb that cost $50. The place turned out to be way better than I expected. The room was individual, so you didn't have to be sleeping in a room with a bunch of other people. The hostel also offered breakfast, lunch, and dinner for an additional fee, and the beds were queen-size beds for the rooms. Now, as I mentioned, there's plenty of places to stop and explore on the route there. You could park your car on the side of the road. There's a ton of really great information about the area and the different peaks, the different valleys. So a ton of really good places where you could park. The temperature and the scenery around the mountains constantly changing. The fog keeps rolling in around you. So it's really a lot of really great places where you could stop, enjoy yourself, take some hot coffee with you, some hot chocolate, and really just sit down and enjoy the scenery. Now, I drive. I rent a car monthly here, so it really allows me to get from place to place with much comfort, a lot of the same comfort that I had in the United States. But to do a lot of the same things that I do, you could also find different people to take you. You could find Jeeps around the area that take you to certain points, and then you could hop on buses or chivos from there. So everything that you see is very accessible and very easy to explore. Something else worth mentioning is the area around the coffee axis. Like everywhere, you do have to be aware of your surroundings and be cognizant of what you're doing. But the area is very safe. It's very safe compared to the rest of the country. Even places where you see a lot of tourists like Medellin or Cartagena deal with a lot of different problems that you just don't see in the coffee axis. Pereira, Manizales, Armenia. And I'll dive deeper into that in another video. But as far as this one, I want to continue on to the natural hot springs, the one into the mountains. You stop at a house on the top of the hot springs where you pay the 15,000 pesos or around $4 or $5 to get into the area. It's a beautiful drive down the mountain to the hot springs itself. These hot springs are sulfur hot springs as well as very natural hot springs. So the further that you go down the river, the more bearable that temperature is going to be for you. The sulfur smell is also very strong, but just overall a wonderful experience, a great place to go and relax for some time. On the way back, we'll stop through Manizales and get something to eat. And that pretty much concludes the video on my trip to the Nevados. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and see you guys next time.